welcome to Indian News. Our guest today is Sanjay Aggarwal, a Thai Boston member who is heading a session on business exit strategies at upcoming TiECON conference. We are going to talk to him about that very important session, who are some of the speakers at the session, and also what is his take on exit strategies for the businesses. Sanjay, welcome.
Thank you, Ben.
And I'm very curious to see what is going to happen in that session.
Yeah.
So let's start first with what is the key theme? It's business exit. Tell us a little bit in more depth what it is.
Yeah, sure. So the idea really is that when you start a business, you're thinking about your technology, you're thinking about how to raise money, financing, how are you going to sell, customers. But most businesses don't really think about what's the end point. When are they going to the liquidity event for themselves, for their company? How are they going to exit? And this is where we are thinking, as the conference is set up, at the end, we really talk about what's the end goal. You're trying to do an exit. What will the business exit look like for you? And this session will have speakers who will come in and say how they thought about it when they got to that point in their journey, how they exited their businesses, what really happened. So we're hoping everybody who's in the audience was thinking about it and then they will be inspired by that.
And who are some of the speakers?
Sure. So our very exciting lineup of speakers. So our first speaker is going to be from the consulting firm Ernst & Young.
Mm-hmm.
They are Lisa and Kat, who are actually also upcoming chairs for their very prestigious Entrepreneur of the Year award that they hold, and they're going to be doing the New England piece of that. So they will come in, they will talk about what are they seeing in the market. And given their size and scope, and given that they work with big and small companies, they see a lot of complexity, a lot of variety, a lot of clients that they are actually consulting on and telling them what to do. So they will talk about what are they seeing in the market, different types of structures, tax structures, and other things. And then we will have two really renowned speakers, two CEOs who went through this journey. So Dr. Atul Dhir had an exit recently, and he did a $300 million sale of his company. And what exciting about him is he's going to talk about not just what happened mechanically in the transaction, but also the emotions you go through. How are you balancing the employees and the investors and other folks in the company, because you're running a company as you're trying to sell it. So he's going to talk about that. And then our last speaker, Praveen, he's going to speak. He's the CEO of Morphic, Therapeutic. He just had an exit by sale to Eli Lilly, a multi-billion-dollar exit as well. So he's going to come in and talk about what happened. How do you really deal with that kind of transaction with a big company? So very excited about all this.
I'm so glad you mentioned about the emotional part, because that's what I have been thinking since we're talking about exit, because sometimes when you start a company, you get also emotionally attached to that. Yeah. So you get many opportunities, but still you think, this is my baby, I don't want to. Yeah. And a lot of time is wasted into that. So I think if, one of the speakers can touch base on, how the emotions hold you from not having a successful exit, and eventually, by the time you have missed your time and everything. So it's a very interesting theme from that perspective.
No, I agree with that, because I think, and you're right, when I started my career way back in the dot-com time, where there were a lot of exits, everybody was excited about it, and then it came time to transactions, they didn't do it, and then the market passed, and then we had a crash. And now I feel 25 years later, I'm in the same spot, consulting with a lot of companies, and you're right, it's hard. And it's almost like no transaction is good enough, as you said, for your baby. You say, I built this company, I think it's worth more.
Yeah.
Like when you're trying to sell a house, everything seems like this is not good enough for a transaction. You don't want to do it. And maybe at some point when you are ready, market is not ready. So there is a little bit of a dance, if you will, that you have to do and you have to be ready for.
And at the same time, there are some people, they start one company, they sell it out, they start the next one. Nothing, no emotions, nothing, and they do sometimes quite well, IPO. Yeah. So there are so many exit possibilities. You expand up, scale it up, and then sell it or go IPO or all these, So these are all the topics will be discussed there.
Correct. Yeah. So that's really how we are thinking about it, exit options. So it's not going to be one option for every entrepreneur. As you said, I mean, some are very clear about it. They are clear eyes as they go and they say, okay, I'm starting this company because I want to go IPO, or I want to sell this company at this point. Once we have proven, call it a phase 2, phase 3, this is what we're going to do. Versus some others who started, they say, okay, we'll see how it goes.
And then also mergers, acquisitions, there's so many.
Right? I mean, and some types of structures are common across, right? Everybody can go IPO, sell the company, mergers, other things. You can do a massive Series E, a liquidity event, or what have you, but some things are more industry specific sometimes. And you're obviously expert in real estate. There are roll-up transactions all the time.
Sure.
You're trying to do some sort of an upread and operating units and what have you, versus in a biotech, you may be doing more of a licensing transaction perhaps with a larger company, or in a technology company, you may be doing other types of structures which give you that liquidity, but you are not selling the company outright. So you get to a little bit of a have your cake and eat it too. So that's what the experts are going to talk about.
And your session is going to be the last session at the time.
Correct. Hopefully, we will hold everybody back for this.
Sure. I mean,
session.
I think this, what you are saying is, I mean, every entrepreneur goes through that exercise, and many people don't realize that how one should plan for that.
Yeah.
Because one day you have to make a decision. Either you make a decision, or somebody else is going to make that decision for you.
Yeah.
And if your session can educate that, how to be prepared for that.
Yeah, and I think that's what we are hoping, that when you sit in this session and you say, what should I be thinking now for something that may happen in 3, 5, 10 years, right? You don't want to get to that and say, okay, if I knew then what I know now, I would have done things differently.
Sure.
So they can hopefully learn from experts who've gone through this, CEOs who've done these transactions. They talk about their past, how they prepared for it along the way, and not just as to your point, not just the money piece of it. It's also what kind of strategic team you need, who has what role, how do you really balance everything, your emotions, your employees' emotions, investors' emotions, who supported you along this way. So everybody has a successful exit.
So one question I have that when you have this exit and either you sell the company or you make a lot of money, windfall, and what about the taxes, for example? Some people are going, oh my God, if I sell the company, I'm going to make this much money. How much I have to pay taxes? So how is that covered there in the session as well?
Yeah, good question. So one of our experts from EY, she's the tax partner. So she's going to come in and talk about what are the tax considerations in your exit planning. So and again, I'm not a tax expert, so I'm not going to try to give advice here.
But this topic is
right. The topic will be covered, and they will talk about what kind of structures might be there for the optimal, most efficient transaction that you can have.
Yeah. And what excites you this year, upcoming TiECON?
I think what excites me is really the topic of the conference. It's really the connected entrepreneur. So one thing that we are really hoping is people see how connections help them. It's not just, of course, your technology, your drug that you developed or whatever else you did, but also all the connections that you build. And especially if you think about Boston, one of the biggest, most connected entrepreneurial systems in the country, if not in the world. So our speakers will talk about how their relationships, their connections really helped in their journey. So that's the connected entrepreneur. So that's what I'm very excited about.
Okay. And tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So I started, as I said, my career back I actually started in the Middle East, working with very large companies. Then I came to Boston in the .com days, worked with Ernst & Young at that time, with a lot of small companies, very entrepreneurial, trying to do different things, saw their phases along the way. And then I went into real estate 20 plus years ago in the Ernst & Young's real estate group, worked with them for a period of time. And then I joined a large real estate company headquartered here in Boston called American Tower. And at one point we were, and probably still is, the largest REIT in the world. And we grew the company, very exciting time. Started with about 3 or 4 countries, got to 26 countries along the way. And more recently, I left that company and started working with my wife. She has a company.
So that's a very good story that finally husband is joining the wife. This is a great success story.
Yeah. So I work for her now. And really, it's the back to client service, small entrepreneurial companies who are trying to do technology, telecom, clean technology, and really helping them grow domestically, internationally, helping them raise money, dilutive, non-dilutive funding, all of those things. So very exciting.
Excellent. Now, coming back to TiECON, if you can tell a little bit about the conference, when, where people can buy tickets.
Yeah, sure. Great question. So conference is going to be on September 13th at Sheraton, Boston, downtown. And to get the tickets, the best part is the website. It's TiECONEast.com. So go there, get the tickets. There are going to be hundreds of people, really lots and lots of opportunities for people to learn and connect and build these relationships, which will hopefully serve you all well in the future.
Sanjay, thank you so much.
Thanks so much.